What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and in the last Dynasty video, we went through our off-season shenanigans in Season 4. We brought in a brand new crop of kids, filled out the roster, and we're really excited about heading into Season 5. It's hard to believe we're already in the 5th season of this Dynasty, but I can't wait to get into it, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through the preseason shenanigans of Season 5. So let's start at the very beginning. We'll go to preseason options, and we'll go to custom schedule. Now, I have already completed this, and I'll show you what I have put together. We're going to kick off the season against number 15 Cal. I wanted to make sure I put a Pac-10 game on there somewhere. Then the following week, we're going to go to Manhattan, Kansas, to take on Kansas State. Really excited about this one. It's been years since I have played in that stadium. I ran a Kansas State Dynasty a couple years before I started all of this, and I had so many fond memories of that Dynasty, and I thought it'd be fun to play then. So that's a Big 12 team we've added to the schedule. The next 8 games are the conference games, and then we're going to bookend the season with 2 non-conference games. We're going to head to Clemson. Nothing really special here. I just wanted to add an ACC team of some sort or a Big 10. In this case, it's ACC. And they're not ranked, but I think it'd be a lot of fun to play in that stadium. It's been a long time since I have. And then, last but not least, we are going to bookend the season with number 1 Florida, the reigning national champions, to come to the islands to take on us. It would be epic if both of us are still in the top 5 by the time we play each other. So that gives me a C+ strength of schedule. I'm perfectly fine with that. 3 ranked games on top of another Power 5 school to go up against. I'm more than pleased with that. Should be a lot of fun. Can't wait to play them all. Let's go to Redshirt Players. This is a good place to kind of see where our roster is at. I finished the last video by looking at this, but we're going to look at it from the redshirt perspective. Now, we got a bunch of quarterbacks here, and as you can tell, true freshman Troy Petty, number 1, and a friend of mine made a good comparison. This may be the next Warren Moon. He can really throw it far. He's got the number 1. And he's going to be running the run and shoot. It just makes perfect sense. Just a great comparison all around. But we're really excited about Troy Petty. He will be our starter, which means we can redshirt some other guys. Really excited about this quarterback, Marcus Bush. He's got a great arm, a 78 overall. But we do not need him this season. I'm more than happy with Jared Fuller, the redshirt sophomore, backing up Petty. So we're going to redshirt Bush. And the local kid that we picked up, Brad Jacobs, we're going to redshirt him as well. As you can tell, he's technically our least talented of the bunch, but I really like his arm. You go over here to the far right, you look at the throwing power and accuracy, and I really like Bush. I mean, 87 throwing accuracy for Marcus Bush is just killer, and he's got a 92 throwing power, which is great. And then you got Brad Jacobs. I think he'll do fine. He'll be like a career backup guy for us. But this position group looks really good for the future, especially this cat right here. If I can get him some decent accuracy going, and I may work around that, but look at that 80 speed. We're going to implement a little option, which means we may do a little veer and shoot. I've been trying to work that offense into this game for years. I think I kind of know how to go about doing it. It's really hard to implement it, but I think with enough imagination, I can make it at least look like the veer and shoot. So with some speed at quarterback, you may see some of that heading into this season and beyond. Let's go to halfback. We got a bunch of guys here as well. Larson, Scruggs, and Cox. Basically, Larson and Scruggs have been handling most of the duties there. We are perfectly loaded at this position just in terms of bodies. And we have a couple of guys that we can redshirt. Edwin Davis was an athlete that we picked up, 70 overall. There's really no other place to put him. Halfback was by far his best position. We do not need him this year, obviously, so we can redshirt him. And then we're really excited about this kid, Little Glenn Nugent, 5'5", 160, number 10, sort of like Trendon Holiday, who played at LSU. Really excited about the kid, but as you can tell, he's our least talented of the bunch. We do not need him this season, but you better believe it. When the time comes, we are going to use that 98 speed somehow, some way. We just don't need to this season. Fullback, we don't ever use this position in this offense, so we can let that one go. Wide receiver, not a whole lot is going to change on the wide receiver front. Davis is still going to be my X receiver. Rackley's going to be my Z. Grant, I'm still going to put him where he was last season. I mean, what's the point of changing it? I won the wide receiver award with that guy, and he almost won the Heisman. So, I mean, I could add a couple extra things to this, But if it isn't broke, I don't really need to fix it. So he's going to be my right slot receiver. And Glover is the perfect fit for where Michael Washington was in the left slot. He's got the speed that I really need in the slot right there. And his height means I can actually get him on some go routes depending on the matchup. So these are going to be my starting 4 guys, which means I have some guys that I can redshirt. We picked up 2 other freshmen. Big Will Hodges, really excited about him. We're going to have like a twin tower look next season with him and Grant. But this year we really don't need him. So I can redshirt him. There's a very good chance he will be my Rackley next season, because Rackley is a senior, and they're basically the same type of guy, more or less. I mean, he's really no different than Grant as well, just a really tall, lanky, a guy with some speed to him. 87, which is pretty fast for somebody that tall. But we're going to redshirt him. Mike Vincent, 6'3", 175, 92 speed. I don't know. We can check his catch. It's a 78. I can see him being a future X receiver down the line. We'll see how that goes, but we do not need him this season, so we can redshirt him. But if something happens to one of these 4 guys or 2 of them, we have Bass, who feels like he's been here forever. I mean, this may be his 8th season in the program, but he's still hanging around. He's finally a redshirt senior. He's going to be a good backup for all of these guys. And we have another guy, Jim Fritz, redshirt sophomore. So we are perfectly fine at this position. It is the heart of our offense. Tight end, we got 2 guys here. We can't redshirt any of them, but it's exactly where I want them. Just 2 big guys who can block for us. That's all I really need there. But you better believe it, when we come to a couple of our tight end formations, our ace normal, and I think I may switch up ace big tight end wide receiver with ace big twins. Either way, you better believe it, we're going to have Grant in there at tight end as well, and gun normal to go with that. So none of that's really going to change. Tackle. We have 4 guys here. I'm not going to redshirt McCray. Of course, he is our best offensive lineman. I do know I'll probably end up starting maybe Spencer on right tackle. We will look at that once we get to the depth chart. Guard. Kemp is by far our best guard, so we're not going to redshirt him, but I can redshirt true freshman Jeremy Bowling. That's a perfect setup. You got 4 guys, you got 2 backups behind your starters, and you got somebody to redshirt. That's my ideal setup for any position. Center, Alton Gunn. This is the JUCO kid we picked up. I think what I may do, him and Skinner are the same in terms of talent. Skinner is stronger, and he's much smarter. I truly believe awareness really impacts high snaps, and we want to limit those as much as we can. Now, we can check out their blocking skills, and Gunn is a little bit better pass blocker, and which will probably, I don't think that affects the high snap stuff. But I think it's actually in our best interest to redshirt Gunn, and we'll see what happens next season. I just do not think we'll need him this year. I don't mind doing that. I know it's kind of rare to redshirt a JUCO, but there's nothing wrong against it, I guess. So McCoy can back up Skinner, and again, he's got just as good as awareness as Skinner. So I'm perfectly fine with that setup. And we got a true freshman, Lewis McDonald, the little 2-star kid. We can redshirt him as well. Defensive end. We got some monsters over here. We moved some guys over, Ben Jasmine and Matt Neal. Just perfect 4-3 defensive ends for what we're trying to do. And we got backups galore behind them. Now, some of these guys are going to get flushed out. They're going to leave early, or they're going to leave because they're seniors. So this will look a little more normal in time. But those are only 2. Actually, I don't have to redshirt anybody at this position. So I think we're okay there. Jasmine's going to start. Neal's going to start. Then we're going to have backups behind them. Defensive tackle. We were able to improve this position going from the 3-4 to the 4-3 just in one season. Now we have 5. This is no different than tackle or guard. I like to have 5 on the roster for the most part. And we got plenty of guys that we can redshirt. Now, we're obviously not going to redshirt our best guy, Brent Miller. Scruggs will be the other starter at defensive tackle. And then I got a sophomore and 2 freshmen. I'm going to redshirt one of the freshmen. I'm not going to do both. One I can't do, I don't think it really matters. Let's just go ahead and redshirt Antonio Russell. Look at this kid's strength, a 90. He's going to be really good for us down the line. But I like to have 4 because defensive tackle is one of those positions that these guys get tired pretty easily. So all 4 of these guys are going to see the field quite a bit. Outside linebacker. This is another great position for us to be in here. Tyler LeFew is just going to be a monster for us again this season. And I have a situation at left outside linebacker. I can start either Deion Price or Solomon Elimimian. I hope I said that correctly. One's a senior, the other one's a true sophomore. I honestly think I'm going to start Elimimian. He's a little smarter. He's just a tad bit slower, but not a whole lot. I'm guessing that Price can tackle just a little bit better. They're basically the same type of player. But I'm going to redshirt Price. That way he will start most definitely next season once Elimimian leaves. So I think that's a good setup. LeFew and Elimimian will be our starters, with Johnson and Sateli backing them up. Next up, middle linebacker. We're now down to just 4. We had so many of them running the 3-4 last season. We was able to flush a couple out and move them around and such. And true senior Harvey Doherty, he's been our starter at middle linebacker for 4 seasons. Who would have thunk it's been that? Time flies, I swear. I vividly remember him recruiting him and him just starting right away. We're not going to redshirt him, of course, because he's our starter. He's our best linebacker at this position. But we got good backups behind him, so we don't have to do anything here. Corner, this is our weakest position. We just got unlucky. We had 2 guys leave early or leave for one reason or another. And we had no cornerbacks of worthiness to want to put a scholarship on to get them to commit here. It's just bad luck, bad timing, and all of that. But you got to deal with it. Murphy's going to be a stud for us by the time he leaves. He was great for us as a true freshman last season. Moss is going to start, and then Hickman's going to be our nickel. Now, I'm going to redshirt, I think it'll let me. No, it won't let me. I'm going to redshirt Rogers. I'm not going to redshirt this walk-on. That's a waste of time. He's just a 52 overall. We are barely going to go nickel. Barely. We're going to do that against 4 and 5 wide sets. And what I may end up doing is run a little 4-2-5 towards the end. We'll just see about that. We'll look at our strong safety situation here in a minute. But I'm okay with redshirt and Rogers. And I think we're going to be fine here. Our nickel is definitely our weakness, but at least he's got some speed to him. As long as I got some speed there, I think we'll be okay. I just need to remember to maybe run a little nickel blitz with that guy every once in a while. Free safety. Our strength of our defense is going to be our safety. Zach Berry's a 92 overall, just at a redshirt junior. He's really playing well as of late. And we got a freshman backup behind him. We probably need to recruit somebody a little bit better at this position. But that's something we could deal with later. It's definitely not a need, but it wouldn't shock me if Barry decides to leave early. But we have nobody to redshirt there. And arguably our most talented player, Cedric Oliver, he was the first 5-star kid we got to commit. We're obviously not going to redshirt him. The game won't let us anyways. But we have an 84 overall strong safety that's a backup. He's a 78 speed, though. So I can either run a little 4-2-5 and put this guy out there for spread sets, or I can play a lot more 4-3 or some nickel, because look at there. Our outside linebackers are, Elimimian's faster than our backup safety. So I may not do any 4-2-5. I'm just kind of looking to see what's the best way to get my best 5 or 11 out there, especially against the spread sets. And to be honest, 4-3 and the nickel will probably work just fine. But I'll probably end up doing my normal thing and probably running a lot of nickels. But as you can tell here, we have nobody to really redshirt. Kicker, I may end up getting somebody better down the road, but I'm perfectly fine with him playing kicker. Besides, we got the #1 punter in the country, who are probably our starting kicker anyways, and we obviously can't redshirt him, nor will we. And that is it for the red shirts. We can let it do its thing there. And the next thing we're going to do is go to our roster, the depth chart specifically. Let's go here and let's make sure all of this is squared away. Petty, Fuller, Marcellus. I just want to make sure. Brown, I'm okay with that. I'm not really worried about who's our third string guy. Halfback. Scruggs, Larson, and Cox. I'm going to leave it as such. That way I'll have to check my formation subs in our first game to make sure nothing really changed there. Fullback, we don't have to do anything here. They never play. Wide receiver, I do need to make sure that Davis, Rankley, we need to switch Grant with Glover. I want Glover as my left slot, and I want Grant as my #4 guy. And they're going to have Bass at #5. So right slot, left slot, Z and X. I'm good with that. Tight end, we need to move McCoy up. If I can find him. Let's do that. Oddly enough, we do have a middle linebacker who can play a little tight end. He's got 80 speed. Just imagine. I bet he can't catch, though. Oh, my gosh. Look at that. We got a middle linebacker who can play a little tight end. I didn't think about that. That's something for me to ponder on. I can sneak him in. He could be my other tight end with Grant. Wouldn't that be weird? I got a wide receiver and a middle linebacker playing tight end for us. Hey, you just got to watch out for some of these guys. If they can catch a little bit, hey, put them somewhere. See if they can catch a ball or two. Left tackle, we're going to put Harris behind McCray. Left guard, who's going to be my left guard? I'm pretty sure I'm going to have Newsom because he's much bigger and he's much stronger. I need guys who can push at guard. I do not really need any good pass blocking guards. I need good run blockers more than anything else. Center, I am okay with this. Do I have another center back here? I don't think I do. I think they're all redshirting or whatnot. So we're good with Skinner over McCoy. Let me just make sure I want this correctly. It's the pass blocking, the run blocking. He's just a much better blocker overall. Look how big he is. 6'1", 354 pounds. Jeez. Right guard. We're going to put the other right guard wherever he's at. Bennett, Kemp, and then Bennett. And then right tackle. I think I'm going to have Spencer over Lumpkin just because he's a little smarter. I think that's going to help on the pass blocking. Now, his pass blocking, 89 to 90, so there's really no difference there. So I'm perfectly fine with having Spencer be our starter. Besides, he's much bigger. 6'7", 341 pounds. Defensive end, left end specifically, Jasmine and Ingram. I probably have another left end back here. I got a ton of bodies at defensive end right now. We're going to do something like that. Hard to believe Ingram's going to be a backup now. Right end, we're going to put Walker right there. Not Walker, Texas Ranger, but we're going to put Higgins. So I'm 3 deep at defensive end. I don't know if I've ever had that before. I'm sure I have. It's been so long since I've seen anything like it. We just got a ton of bodies there, which is a good problem to have. So Neal and Jasmine are our starters at the ends. Defensive tackle, we should have 4 guys sitting here, and that looks correct to me. It doesn't really matter who I want the 3 or the 4. Both of them are going to play some. Yes, we could put Maynard at the number 3. That's fine. Left outside linebacker, Elimimian, and then we're going to have somebody else back here. We'll put Satelli. That looks good. Middle linebacker, Doherty, Robinson. Then it's Scott. I'm okay with every bit of that. Then right outside linebacker, Big Tyler Few, of course, he's going to start, and we're going to put Johnson behind him. Corner. We need to put, technically, our backup strong safety is a better corner than our third best corner, which is Hickman, but I want Hickman to start, so I'm perfectly fine with that. Anderson could be there, and do I have another corner, or am I already redshirting? I think I got the 52 guy. Let's do something like this. I'm okay with that. Maybe I could sneak in a little dime if I wanted to, but the only thing about this safety is his speed just isn't all that great. Either way, I'm perfectly fine with that set up there. Free safety, that looks good. Strong safety, that looks good. Kicker, we are going to put Jackson above Gray. I think that just makes sense. And then, of course, Jackson is going to be our starting punter. Kick return and punt return. Let's think about this for a minute. What I will probably do, I want some speed and guys who can catch. I want to put Glover as our number 1. Again, he's our new Marcus Washington. Grant, why not? I could put Grant a quarterback, tight end, kicker. He could probably do a little bit of everything. He even had a handful of tackles last season. But I want to look here. Let's go to the speed. We got Glover, Davis, Moss, Hickman at corner, Grant. I want somebody who can probably catch the ball at least a little bit. Oh, man. We could do Best and Davis. I really don't want, since Davis is an impact guy, I really don't want him to be doing kickoffs. I just don't want him to get hurt. I just don't think it's worth it. But Best, I think, will do just fine there. Even though he's got a 90 speed, I'm okay with that. We could change that at any moment's notice. So we can do Glover, Best, and Davis. We'll go Glover. We will go Best, and Davis can be our backup. That's fine. Kickoffs, we'll go punter and kicker. Yes, that looks fine there. Long snapper. We could put the other center, McCoy, and then we do Skinner. I normally like to put my backup center here. And quarterback, all that looks good. So now what we're going to do is check out our captains. We're going to go to all, and then we're going to go to awareness. And I'm just assuming, looks like Rackley is going to be a captain. Good for him. Then we have probably Oliver will be the other captain. Yes, the always go by seniority and then awareness. So I'm perfectly fine with that. While we're here, we can check out program standards. Look at that bar. Nothing. That's what you want to see. We got 45 points to play with. As long as we can just kind of get by this season, we're going to be more than fine. Next up, let's go to Athlon Sports. Preseason polls. Number 1, Florida. Then you got Texas Tech. I almost scheduled Texas Tech. The reason I didn't is because that big quarterback who should have won the Heisman. Well, I take that back. I think the Florida halfback done just fine. He probably deserved it. But the big Texas Tech quarterback from last season, he left. Otherwise, I was wanting to go up against him, but they got somebody new in there. Either way, Michigan, Texas, my beloved Vols, Iowa. Then look at there, number 7, Hawaii Warriors. How far have we come in 5 seasons? Now we're top 10 in the country preseason. Pretty sweet. You got Nebraska, Purdue, Miami, and so on and so forth. Let's check out the Heisman Watch. Number 1, Big Tim Grant. The man, the myth, the legend. You check out his first season. Almost 1,800 yards receiving. His average 19 per catch, 15 touchdowns. And I think defensively, he ended up with 12 tackles. All that was on special teams. I could probably play him at defensive end, and he'd probably do just fine. This kid can do a little bit of everything. Just a great athlete. Super excited about him. Then, just looking at the rest of them, Georgia quarterback, an Akron quarterback. Good for him. He must put up some serious numbers last season. Yeah, look at those numbers. He had 5,400 yards and 65 touchdowns. Whew. And he's a scrambler. He didn't run much last season, so that's okay. But either way, awesome-looking athlete. Good for them. He's a first-team All-American, too. Halfback out of Colorado, Maurice Greer. I almost scheduled them as well, but they were unranked. I don't remember what it was. I wanted to play at least one Pac-10 school. We played them last season and had no issues. And then at the very end, Martin Randall, number 17. That's a sacred number at Tennessee. Big T. Martin won a national title for us in '98 wearing that number. But anyway, that's pretty cool to see there. Now let's go to preseason All-Americans. I'm sure we'll have a few guys on here, but there's that Carlton Jackson at Akron. Good to see that. Look at this. Fresno, first-team All-American, halfback. We got to go up against that guy, and what do we got to do? We got to beat him. We got to find a way to do it. Hopefully we can. But there's Big Tim Grant. He's gained a little weight. He's now at 246. I'm curious to see if he'll ever get any taller. Maybe by the time he leaves, he may be 6'9". Just looking at the rest of this, I'm not looking super hard at any of these names other than if we're on here. We can look at the second team, and oh, look at this. John Davis made first team All-American, or second team All-American. That's pretty cool. He's been steady for us his entire career. You look at his numbers, 750, then he got 1,100, then he got another 1,000. I'm sure he'll do no different than what he done last season, maybe even more. We can keep going. I saw another Fresno State player on there, a tackle. And that is it for the first and second team All-Americans. We can check out the WAC. Scruggs made first team, which makes sense because he gets a lot of touchdowns at the goal line. Do we have anybody else on the first team? This is surprising. Okay, there's Oliver made the first team All-Conference. Second team, Larson made second team. Good for him. He hasn't gotten in the end zone a whole lot, mainly via catching the ball. I mean, he's got some good passing or receiving yards, but only 4 touchdowns. But it's cool to see him on there. And John Davis made second team All-Conference. So how did he make second team All-American, but only second team All-Conference? I don't know. I guess we had some really big-time studs at wide receiver in this conference. Either way, that's interesting to see. Big Bo McCray, junior left tackle, has been great for us. Jake Ingram, I hate to see him being on the second team when he's not going to play a ton this year. Then you got Big Tyler LaFew, second team All-Conference. And that is it for the All-Conference stuff. We can check out Conference Outlook. They have us number 1, of course, Fresno number 2, then Boise State, then so on and so forth. I'm kind of looking, San Jose State's kind of moving up a little bit. They usually stay down at the very bottom. It looks like Utah State is holding down that spot. Let's check out toughest places to play. I never look at this to see if this changes much. I think it does. I just don't know if new teams get on here. I'll have to go back and look at the original and see if anybody new came on here. I'm pretty sure. I don't know if South Carolina's stadium is in the top 25 at the very beginning. That's something I'll check. I have that information on the website. Now all that's left is recruiting. So last season, what I done was I went after like 2 guys, got them to commit, then I went after 1. I pretty much put all of my eggs into like 2 baskets, and it worked out well. In the past, I've done 9, go after 12 guys, try to get as many as you can, and you can do something in between. So what we can do here is look, and we have 58 guys coming back, which means we got only 12 spots to fill. So we don't have a whole lot of space to go after 20-plus guys. So we can do pretty much the same thing we done last season, especially if we want to emphasize off-season recruiting by only going after just a handful of guys during this season. So that's what I want to do. Now, it looks like we need an extra receiver, an outside linebacker, and definitely a strong safety. But what I want to do is really focus at corner and strong safety. Those are the 2 big ones. And I don't know, we'll just kind of look around, see what else, if we can find some other freak athletes, and I'll go after them as well. And we'll see what happens. So let's get right into it. The first thing I like to do is check out not the in-state, but the pipeline states. Arizona is no longer a pipeline state for us. It was for a couple of seasons, and that went away. I guess there just weren't enough guys we got, which is fine. I mean, you try to get who you can. I still don't mind recruiting this state just because it's closer. But we are a national brand. I'm at the point now where I don't even look at states anymore. I'll look at California. Of course, we'll look at Hawaii. But the rest of it, not so much. Because if you go back, somebody made a really good point. You go back to our roster, look where some of these guys are coming from. Like Troy Petty. He is from California, but I wanted to check out the wide receivers. You look at some of these guys here. We can go, if I can go up, there we go. Davis is a local kid. Rackley's Washington. Grant is from California. Glover's from Mississippi. And Will Hodges is from Mississippi. And somebody put in the comments in the last video about how Aberdeen, Mississippi and Amory, Mississippi are like high school rivals, which I think is pretty cool. But it's amazing to get 2 big stud receivers from one small area in Mississippi. So, again, I'm a national brand at this point, so we're going to go all over trying to find the best players we can. And since we are going to recruit to go after just 2 or 3 guys this in-season, we should do okay regardless of where they are from. So we're going to keep going. I still want to check out my pipeline states. California is obviously one. We may not have much more. Like here is Hawaii. There's like 5 guys here we can look at here in a little bit. The rest of them, we may not have any more. We'll check really quick because you do have a little bit of a leg up if you have a pipeline state. The only downside to recruiting nationally is you're spreading yourself kind of thin amongst all the states. And that is it. It is Hawaii and California. So what I'm going to do, let's go straight to Hawaii first. Let's go in-state and see what we're dealing with here. We got a 4-star tackle. He's not big enough for my liking. And tackle, I mean, we could probably add another guy. If you kind of notice, we got 3 sophomores and a junior. We're spread pretty well at guard. 6'5", 318. This guy's stronger and bigger. I would more rather go after that guy. But again, it's not a really big need right now. 4-star Thomas Cook. 6'1", 190. Kind of looks fine, I guess. But I'm not really all about putting in 30% of our points into this guy, or 50%. Here's another 4-star defensive end, Jeremy Washington, but he's a natural defensive end. He looks the part. I like his size and I like his speed, but his strength is nowhere where it needs to be. So I don't know if I'll go after him or not. We'll just see. And we got a tight end, of course, doesn't really fit what we do. Technically, he kind of does. We want blocking tight ends for certain situations, but we really don't need one, and I really don't want to spend any in-season recruiting points on a tight end who doesn't do much for me. So Hawaii, I'm not seeing a whole lot there, but we may come back to it. So let's go to California, and let's see what we're dealing with here. Let's start off by position. Quarterback, we do not need any more of those. Halfback, I need to start thinking about getting a couple guys because I think the backups behind 2 of our main guys aren't the greatest in the world. The only downside is you have no clue if any of these guys can catch, because I'm starting to get to the point where I think I may just go for more of the scat back type and do more of our running from the gun and do more pure June Jones run and shoot. We'll just see how that goes. But Ray Johnson, 4.39 C+. He's a balanced. And then another 4-star. Here's a power guy, Michael Tyree. Really smart, really strong. So that's more of the downhill runner. Again, that's just not a big need for us. We got 6 guys here. And I'm not going to go after any 4-star or 3-star guys. Fullback, we're not going to bother. Wide receiver, We do need to pick up somebody. Now, look at this kid. Derek Wright, 6'5", 194, 26. That's probably one we need to look at. He's tall, he's fast, he's fairly smart too. Let's go ahead and put a scholarship on him. There we go, do some 3-star kids that I'm not overly interested in unless somebody was like just abnormally huge or super fast. And I'm not really seeing that right here. Tight end, again, that's just not a big need for us. I'm not going to waste points on that in the regular season. Tackle, again, just not a big need, but I wanted to see if anybody really stood out. Like this kid right here, kind of look, 6'7", 331. Could be a good future tackle for us. This guy looks good too. But we need to keep going. Guard, again, we're kind of fine at guard. We got 4 guys there. I may need to pick up somebody for a couple of these positions. I'm just looking for somebody that's really strong and really big. And I'm seeing, here's a 3-star, like 6'3", 347. This guy's kind of ideal, but he's not as smart. I probably wouldn't mind going after one of these 2 guys. But again, I'm not really ready to put a scholarship on him yet. Just not a big need. We need to look more at corner and such. Center, we are good at corner. But look how tall this kid is. 6'7", 277. Defensive end, I don't like to go after the natural defensive ends. Defensive tackle, we are finally set at defensive tackle. For a while, we got 2 freshmen, 2 sophomore. We are fine there, and I do not have to go after the biggest guy either anymore. 3-4, you have to. Linebacker, we kind of need to start thinking about this. Outside linebacker, I want some speed. Like this kid right here looks the part. Clint Hall, 6'5", 234, good size, but he's a 4'4", and he's smart. I wouldn't mind putting a scholarship on him. Middle linebacker, we are set for a while. We're down to 3. You got to start thinking about future defensive ends. But you got to look at our defensive ends. We're going to have 5 coming back. Just kind of depends on how you want to go about doing this. Normally, if you're going to get middle linebackers, you're better off just getting ones who could probably play defensive end down the road just in case. So, like, for example, these 2 guys right here are super strong. 5'11", 237, or just George Thompson, 6'4", 240. They're both the same in terms of strength. One's a little smarter, but this guy is much taller. It doesn't really matter. I don't know if I really need to go after them yet, but that 670 squat's awful enticing. I think I may come back to it. We got other fish to fry. Speaking of, corner. Chris Gilbert, 6'3", 185, 4'33". He's really smart. I think I'll go after him. I'm perfectly fine with that guy. That guy's too small, and he's not as smart. I'm not going to bother with him. I probably need to start thinking about free safeties a little bit now. We got a junior and a freshman, if I'm not mistaken, a redshirt freshman. I'm not super excited about him, but a free safety, I need somebody who's fast, who's tall, who's smart. I'm not seeing any of that here. This guy kind of, sort of, but he's not smart at all. And we all know secondary, you really need some smart guys back there, especially for this game. So I'm going to pass on those. And unfortunately, there's no strong safeties in California at all. So we got 9 spots to fill. Now, you got to remember what I've done in the last preseason was I didn't go fill up all 12 scholarships. I went after like 8 of them that I really liked and just picked 2 or 3. And that's what we're going to do here. So what we are going to do is go back to all states, and then we're going to go really pick out the best players we can find. Let's go straight to corner. I'm trying to think of areas of need, and let's see what we're dealing with here. At this point, I really don't care where they're coming from, like Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Oklahoma, Idaho. Let's really try to find some guys that we have a chance at that really fit what we want to do. Perfect example, this kid right here, 4'3", 6'4", 175. I'll definitely put a scholarship on him. This guy's too slow. He's got the body for it, though, and he's much stronger. 5'11", 172. We don't know if he can jump at all either, but I love his speed, but he's just too small. 4'3", this kid's 5'11". I'm not going to bother. Here's another 5'11" kid, 5'11". I really need height. That really goes a long way. Here's a kid that looks interesting. Anthony Murphy out of Tennessee, Sweetwater. That's not too far from me. 6'2", he's tall. He's got some speed to him. And B, awareness. I'm perfectly fine with that. I think I'll put one on him. Here's another kid out of Michigan, 6'3", 180, 4'29". Not smart at all, but I'm more worried about smarts and safety than I kind of am a corner. We just may wait on that one. We're already going after this kid right here. I'll go down to the 4 stars least. Brian Newberry, 6'4", 185, 4'35", pretty smart. I'll go ahead and put a scholarship on him. 5'11", no. 6'3", 185, 4'35", out of Pennsylvania. 4.35 is about as slow as I'll go with here. 6'3", 185 for this kid. Really no different than that one, except this guy's a little bit stronger. 6'3", 175, 4.33 for this kid out of Nevada. He's a 3-star. Let's go ahead and take a chance on him. He's kind of what I'm looking for, even though he's a 3-star. And that's where I'll stop. Free safety. I want somebody who's fast and who is tall. 4.39, 6'2", 201 for this kid. And Brian Freeman, 5'11". Height, it does help where they can knock down the passes. I more care about speed and awareness than anything else for free safety. 4.46. All these guys are just not very fast at all. I mean, 4.46 is fast. Don't get me wrong. But we need some speed back there. Speed and smart. So I'm thinking Jeremy Allen and Brian Freeman. I think I'll probably go after that guy. I like it. He's just got the best measurables. It's pretty obvious why he's considered the top free safety among this group. Strong safety, we got 3 spots left. So let's see if we can find somebody very similar. I've changed my mind just a little bit on what I want as strong safety. Now that I'm playing a lot of too-high man look, I need them to be more of a back-end type of guy instead of being more of an outside linebacker. So again, speed and smarts. So 6 feet, 200. This guy's 6'5", 210 out of Oregon. Yes. 5'11", 210. 6'2", 210 for this kid out of Michigan. It's very hard to find very fast guys at strong safety. The rest of these are kind of slow. So we're going to go up to the very top. And I may put a couple scholarships. I may do one more for a strong safety. I can either go this kid out of Georgia or Michael Ralph. He's a little taller. They all look exactly the same. 6 feet, 2 off. Let's go after Stephen Crum. I'm perfectly fine with that. 6 feet compared to... That's 6'2". Out of Maryland. Let's go with the kid out of Michigan. Let's just do that. Because I want to use this one other spot for somebody special. Let's go to all. And these are the best players in the country. Okay? And let's get one scholarship on a kid. Let's just take a chance on somebody. Who knows? They may be interested in us. As you can see here, top player out of this entire bunch is a halfback, Adam Hawkins. 6'2", 197. Strong. He's probably like the perfectly built halfback for whatever you want to do with him. And ideally, I don't know if you've noticed, but my halfbacks, I've been getting 2 types of halfbacks. Either stronger guys who can run up the middle or guys who can catch the ball, little scat backs, receiving backs for when I'm in the gun. I would love to find somebody who can do a little bit of both. That's kind of hard to find, but maybe we can find somebody here. I don't know if I'm really ready to put one on a guard yet, and he's not big enough. Here's a strong... that's the Crum kid. Never went down to the 4-star. Look at this. There's hardly any 5-star kids. So I'm going to go look at these 2 halfbacks. Charles Powell out of Missouri, 5'11", 195. A little bit stronger than the Hawkins kid, but this kid's a little bit smarter and a little bit taller and a tad bit bigger. There's really not a big difference between the 2. So it kind of depends on who you want to go after. Adam Hawkins or Charles Powell. I like this guy, tall, rangy halfback. Let's just hope he can catch the ball. Let's just go after him, and let's see what happens. So that is it for our recruiting in terms of going after 12 guys. But we're going to go pick just 2 or 3 and go all out. So what we're going to do is go to play week, and we're going to simulate this week. And then we're going to check out some points we're going to put on some of these guys. So we're going to go out of here. We're going to go to in-season recruiting. And... let's pick 3 guys that we could just put a ton of points on and see what happens. So Adam Hawkins, number 1 player in the country, kind of, sort of. We do not know what he likes or anything, but we're very high on his list. We may put some points on him. What I want to do, though, we're going to keep going and just see if we have a positive pitch for any of these guys. Nobody yet. Looks like none of them. Not one positive pitch for any of these guys, which is fine. You pick what you can. Here's that left outside linebacker, Clint Hall. We probably need to go after this kid. He really fit what we wanted. I may put points on him. Looks like I've got a really good chance of getting him. I think regardless of who we go after, we're going to have a very good chance of getting it because we're going to put like maybe 50 points on him. It's either going to be going after 3 guys or 2. So let's pick. Since it looks like we got a chance to go after this kid, I'm going to go ahead and put 33 on him. We'll do 33 for now. Let's just go after 3. Let's pick 2 other guys. Let's pick a corner that we have a chance at. Like, this kid is ideal. I would love to have this kid. We can look at another corner. Again, where we're at on the interest level doesn't matter hardly at this point. Like, here's a 4-star Brian Newberry out of Georgia. 4.35 B awareness compared to this other corner up the very top. 4.31, 244.15. Like, this kid's just a little bit more talented. So it kind of depends which ones you want to go after. My preference is to go after one corner and one strong safety. So let's pick the strong safety first. That's a little bit easier. This Michael Ralph, right at the very top of the list out of Michigan. We probably need to go after him. We could check this other kid, just kind of see where we're at. Cooper out of Oregon. 4.39 A-. 4.39 A-. One's a little bigger. They're both the same speed and everything. So kind of like just whichever one you want to go after, to be honest. Let's go after this kid out of Oregon. That makes a little more geographical sense. Let's go after John Cooper. I only need one of them. We can get another one in the offseason if needed. So we'll put 33 on him. And for corner, I got a lot of corner options. But we need to decide, like, who to go after. I'm thinking either this Newberry kid out of Georgia, 4.35 and a B at 6'4", 185. Or I could go after the kid out of Knox or out of Sweetwater. Or we can go after Josh Wilson out of Texas. Texas Tech, Arizona State, A awareness. That's just, man, let's just take a chance on this kid. It's a little closer to us anyways compared to Georgia. So we're going to do 33 here. And I'm going to put 34 on the halfback. So let's just go after these three. If we could just get 2 of the 3, I'll be perfectly fine with it. Because, again, we do not have a whole lot of spots to fill anyways. And we can use the rest of those spots for the offseason. So we're going to go after Big Adam Hawkins out of North Carolina. Josh Wilson, corner out of Texas. And we're going to go after this strong safety out of Oregon. Big John Cooper, 6'5", 210. Absolute monster at that position. Okay, that is it for the preseason video. Come on back. In our next Dynasty video, we will take on the mighty Cal Bears. It's been a while since I played them. I very well could have played them a couple seasons ago, and I completely forgot. But this should be very interesting. It looks like an even matchup in terms of talent. Top 25 matchup. Should be a lot of fun. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.